Okay, good evening, folks. How are y'all doing? So we're going to start off with a poll. Please raise your hand if you have a pet. Okay, awesome. And keep your hand up if you believe that you have the cutest pet in the entire world. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, you're totally right. You have the cutest pet in the entire world and everyone else is wrong. Just how it is. But I totally agree, which is why last summer, more than anything, I wanted a puppy. Because they're really cute, right? But in retrospect, this was a terrible, horrible, garbage idea because I was incredibly irresponsible. I could barely take care of myself. How was I supposed to remember to take care of a breathing, living animal? It's a lot of work. And probably more importantly, I have a fear of small dogs. So something wasn't adding up. But back to my first point. I was incredibly irresponsible. And academically, I was a giant procrastinator. And so this meant that if I had a presentation, if I had an essay, I was 100% cramming for it the night before. And so after 2 weeks of bothering my parents, they finally agreed, and they made a bet with me. They told me, Isabella, if you can get straight A's your sophomore year, we'll get you a dog. And guys, this is really funny because my mom is deathly allergic to dog hair. If we had gotten a dog, she would have died. So they didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I can do it. And the reason for this is because up until then, I wasn't necessarily super proud of my grades. And that's because I'd set really, really high expectations for myself, and when I failed to meet them, I'd be absolutely crushed. And the reason I was failing to meet them was because my goals were so big, I had no idea where to start. I was getting stuck before I could even start working on them. Instead of working on them in the afternoons when I got back from school, I spent most of my time on TikTok or watching 10 hours of YouTube tasty videos, microwave edition. I don't even own a microwave. And so I was wasting my time. I was getting incredibly frustrated with myself. And then I was changing nothing. And so a few weeks ago, I was scrolling through Instagram. I was looking at different memes. And I found the perfect piece of sophisticated scientific evidence for this TED Talk. This meme. So as you can see, we have the basic visual. We have half glasses of water labeled for an optimist and a pessimist. And you guys already know by now, you have half full for an optimist and half empty for a pessimist. But in addition, we have a third glass labeled Lay's chips. And it's the same glass as the other two, but it says that the glass is full. And I know that jokes aren't funny when you have to explain them, but I brought a demonstration. So Lay's is notorious for ripping us off. So here's a bag of chips. I just opened it. Half of it's air, and they're charging us for the entire bag. We're getting ripped off. Boycott Lay's. But back to my point. These three glasses represent three different mindsets. So in life, you can be an optimist, pessimist, or have the Lay's chip mentality. And so in this scientific diagram, the water represents what we're given in life. This could be resources, time, money, friends, opportunities. And the air represents what we don't have, things we could have. And so if you have a full glass of water, you have everything you could ever need in life. You're super happy, your life is full, you've reached nirvana. Congratulations. And so who here thinks that being an optimist is the best way to go about life? Yeah, I definitely do. Who here thinks that being a pessimist is the best way to go about life? Okay, that's good. I'm glad none of you are raising your hands. I'm actually here to say that both could potentially suck. And I'm going to give you an example. Say your goal is to make breakfast. Being an optimist is amazing, okay? Until it reaches the point of toxic optimism. And what that essentially means is that you're in your kitchen and you're like, yeah, everything's going fine, dude, it's great, I'm loving it. But your kitchen's on fire because you're trying to make a bowl of cereal. That's not safe. What about being a pessimist? Well, I'd argue that that is just as bad. And the reason for that is you never even try to make the bowl of cereal because you're afraid you're going to flood your kitchen with milk. And if you're a pessimist, you cut yourself off from the opportunity of ever finishing a task because you are so afraid of failure. And so most people are susceptible to one of these two mindsets. If you're a toxic optimist, you're saying, yeah, it's fine, everything's going super well, and you ignore the repeated negative results that could harm you emotionally, physically, mentally, and so forth. And if you're a pessimist, you never put enough effort into anything because you are afraid of failure and you're afraid of being judged if you fail. And this is why the Lay's chip mentality helped me stand a chance in the bet against my parents, and then further down the line, improve my time management skills. Because the Lay's chip mentality is making that half glass of water worth a full one. And I'll give you an example. It's maximizing our resources, our time, our money. So if I go home after school and I have an hour to work on homework, if I spend it on TikTok and not really working that hard, getting distracted, I've kind of wasted an hour. But if I have half an hour and I work really efficiently, I can make it just as useful and just as good as a full one by using good studying techniques and so forth. And so in this presentation, I'm basically going to be presenting different techniques and methods that help me achieve my goal in the bet against my parents that follow the Lay's chip mentality, how we can make our half glass of water, our resources maximized. But before we do that, I need to talk about two key components that help me in my journey. The first one is motivation. If someone's ever told you, keep your eyes on the prize, the reason for that is because it is so much easier to accomplish a goal when we know why we're doing something. Take, for example, waking up early. That is horrible. Take, for example, going on a run. That is torture. Or maybe even drinking a spinach smoothie. That is disgusting. But the reason you're doing it is for the end result, not the actual action. So what do you get out of it? You're healthier. You can do more work in the morning. And you're going to be more in shape. And so in my journey, my motivation, my goal, what kept me going was this German Shepherd Husky mix named Cooper. You guys can say, oh, that's a cute dog, right? I love it. Hi, Cooper. And the second thing you guys need to know is this quote which I found online recently, which is success breeds success. And Mia Hamm, a super famous soccer player, you guys probably don't know her if you don't like soccer, said this. And this is true. Once I started to discipline myself academically, I found I had more time to cross things off my bucket list, learn magic tricks, read a book, go on a trip abroad, spend more time working on soccer, model Congress. And I found success popping up in different aspects of my life because I started using the same techniques and mannerisms. And so this is great. I have my motivation. I have Cooper. I'm going to get a dog. Hooray. I'm all fired up to ace my classes, and I kill it. The end. No, that did not happen. I wish. But the first assessment of the year pulls around, and it's an Amex essay. And I get a C. Ouch. That is a major setback. It is so easy to say, I'm going to get straight A's, I'm going to win all my soccer games, but what do we do? How do we continue when we hit our first setback? Well, I recognize that my problem was lack of organization, lack of consistency and effort, and overall, I was a huge procrastinator. I found myself stuck in this thing called the alarm clock mentality. And as you guys can guess from the name, it's that feeling when you make a resolution to wake up early. It doesn't matter when you go to sleep early, go to sleep late, at the perfect time. Next morning, when the alarm goes off, beep, 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 you're going to hit it. You're going to say, I need 5 more minutes. You're going to go back to sleep. 5 minutes pass and it goes off again. Beep, beep, beep. You're going to keep hitting it off, and you're going to keep hitting snooze until you have to get up, because if you're late to work, your boss is going to fire you. So this is the classic example of procrastination, of I'll do it later. And in school, it looked like this. If I had the opportunity to work on my essay Friday night when I got home from school, I would say, no, I'll do it later. I'm tired right now. I had a long week. I had math class last period. I cannot do this. So I push it to Saturday. Saturday morning, I wake up and I say, you know what? I work better in the afternoon. I'm going to do it then. And I keep pushing it back. It's the accumulation of excuses that leads to the loss of time until Sunday night comes around, and I'm like, oh my God, I haven't started my essay, and it's due tomorrow morning, first period. And so then I'm freaking out, and I'm working on it 3 hours. And I come up with a pretty bad product. So the latest chip mentality is aimed to defeat the alarm clock mentality, maximize the time we have instead of wasting it. And so to achieve that, I use different productivity methods. The first one I used helped me organize myself. So the next essay came around, and I was like, okay, I know I want to start early so I don't run into the same problem I did last time. But the challenge I faced was starting to work on an essay that was due in 3 or 2 weeks from now when I have homework assignments and other quizzes and assessments due before then. How am I supposed to prioritize something that is so far off when I have work here and now to do? And so every Saturday morning when I woke up, I'd grab a piece of paper, I'd grab a pen, I'd open up Canvas, which is where my homework assignments are posted, and I'd start writing down a list. And it was a numbered list. I had prioritized action items, and that's what's important. Because I do my homework for Monday, homework for Tuesday, and then maybe halfway through I say, you know what, I'm gonna start working on my essay. So I take my essay and I break it down into smaller portions. Spend 10 minutes brainstorming essay topics, maybe brainstorming theses, writing an outline, a rough draft, working on my bibliography. There's so many ways I could break it down into smaller steps and put it between math homework, French homework, studying French vocab. And so working on the essay consistently in smaller pieces over time produced a better result than cramming for it Sunday night. So another reason why lists are great is that they're very relaxing. CNN consulted several psychologists from Wake Forest University in North Carolina, and they found that when you check off items, you become relaxed because they serve as affirmations. It's basically you telling yourself, the process works, I'm getting stuff done. And this, again, like I had my puppy Cooper, serves as motivation as you're working. And so this is my to-do list from before break. And as you can see at the top, I had my Enviro IA due. And that was honestly soul-crushing. That was terrifying, and it just made me very unhappy because it was so long and hard. So I had to break it up into different portions. Bibliography, I had to revise my analysis section, fix the data tables. And in doing this, I was able to complete something that was really big and super challenging over a long period of time. Another reason why lists are great is that you can take them with you anywhere. Go to school, write down a deadline, remind yourself, I have to email my English teacher. So they're just really convenient. Okay, so I've made a list. I said, I'm gonna work on my essay outline, but then no matter how hard I try, I can't sit down and work on my essay. Why is that? Well, humans have really short attention spans. To be exact, it's about 8 seconds. That is incredible. And that's why we love social media. If you see your kids scrolling on their phone, because they don't have to pay attention to it for more than 8 seconds. They can go to like a new TikTok. And my problem, me specifically, I spent so much time on social media. So the first step was deleting TikTok and deleting YouTube off my phone. I couldn't delete Instagram because I love the gram, but I did set a time limit for it. So once I had those out of the way, I was able to work with this new technique called the Pomodoro Method, and this accommodates our short attention spans. It was created by university student Francesco Cirillo in the 1990s, and what it suggests is working in 25-minute intervals and then taking 15-minute breaks. And fun fact, Pomodoro means tomato in Italian, and that's because he used the tomato turn timer to manage his time. I think my grandma has it in her kitchen. So this is great. The reason why this method works so well is that it prevents burnout and it prevents you from losing focus halfway through your work. The mistake that most of us make is saying, I'm going to work on my entire essay and just get it out of the way. That is really hard and probably not going to end you up with a super great essay. It's a sprint. You work for 25 minutes, then you take a 15-minute break, go do something physical, kick a ball around, have your brain release endorphins, and basically you're going to balance yourself out so when you go back, you can look at things with a fresh perspective. And my last technique, here's some memes for you guys, by the way. My last technique is the accountability partner, also really popularly known as the buddy system. So my best friend in Spain, Paula Ballesteros, I call her every Saturday and I tell her my goals for the week. In the past, we've done eating healthier, working out every day, studying for a certain test, completing an application on time. And then throughout the week, we text each other, we check up on each other. Are we working towards our goals? And then next Saturday, we call and we say, hey, this is what went well, this is what didn't work out so great. Did I accomplish my goal, yes or no? And the reason this is so effective is because you have someone else watching you, someone else expecting things from you. And so here's an example of how it works. Johns Hopkins University did a study with 20 gamers, and they had them perform in front and without an audience. Those that performed in front of an audience, 18 out of 20 of them performed anywhere from 5 to 20% better when they were being watched. And if I say I'm going to run a mile every day, if I just tell myself that and no one else, and I don't do it, no one is going to know. But if I tell my best friend, and she's like, hey, did you run that mile? And I'm like, no, it's embarrassing. So this is why the accountability partner buddy system works so well. So I used these methods, I worked really hard, and I won the bet, yay! So you're now wondering, okay, where's the cute picture of a dog? Well, I'd like to show you this video. Oh! Okay, so that is the cutest dog ever. You guys are wrong. But that's Freddie Mercury, and those of you that know me well know that I don't have a dog. That's my best friend's dog. And after babysitting Freddie for a weekend, I realized that dogs are so much work. Oh my gosh. You have to feed them, you have to clean them, you have to take them on walks, you have to make sure they're potty trained. It is too much, not worth it. So I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm okay, I don't need a dog. So now you're wondering, what was the entire point of your TED Talk? You've been up here for the past 15 minutes telling us about how much you wanted a dog, and then you didn't even get one. Well, I'm about to give the speech of it's the friends we made along the way. The friends I made are better time management skills. When I learned to organize myself, to show consistent effort, and to hold myself accountable, I performed way better. And as Mia Hamm said, success breeds success. I had more time to play soccer, more time to hang out with my younger brother. I could do anything I wanted to. Essentially, I learned how to make my half glass of water worth a full one. Thank you.